Good afternoon and welcome back to the Expansion of Consciousness. I'm your host, Jason Medlock. Wow, we're going to have a great show today. We have two individuals, and I love to refer to my guests as beautiful spirits that's within. But two individuals will be on today with us, giving us a lot of information and sharing with us information about a book that they've co-authored together. So it'll be a wonderful show. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Expansion of Consciousness. We have a number of coaches on this show. We have a number of spiritual healers, people who are hypnotists, people who work in the business sector but use spiritual modalities to change the mindset of themselves, of clients, of anyone who's interested. This is where you can find this kind of content and this kind of information. But Michael DiPietro and Marcey, Donnelly, oh my God, these two individuals are fantastic. For over 20 years, Michael has been guiding individuals and groups to overcome obstacles and awakening to authenticity and fulfillment and purpose. He has a BS degree in engineering, is a certified master practitioner of Neuro-Linguistic programming, the infamous NLP, a martial arts instructor, skilled bodyworker, meditation teacher, and has spent time in both Buddhist and Benedictine monasteries. Throughout his extensive training and deep intuition, he guides clients and readers to truly understand themselves, to transform challenges, to find meaning, and to their life's purpose. He lives in San Francisco Bay Area, and he's out there having a great time with all that good weather they have. And Marcey Donnelly has a 30-year career in finance and is a senior vice president at a Linden Financial Institute. She specializes in process improvement, communications, facilitation, and project management. She studied at San Jose State University, is a certified Six Sigma design, and is a Reiki master. And we know about the Reiki masters. She understands how to find peace from within, how to move everything out and listen to her subconscious mind. That's why she's able to heal. That's why she's able to understand the blocked meridians and how to make those meridians move. And those are your chakra systems. She has a passion for helping others, leading volunteers for local PTAs and other nonprofit organizations. She lives in San Francisco Bay Area with her husband and two children. Beautiful souls, I told you. Please be welcome Michael and Miss Marcey Donnelly. And it's Michael, and I didn't want to keep saying your last name because I did not want to mess it up. How are you two doing today?
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us on here. Super honored to be working with you today.
And it's great. And, again, we try to expand our consciousness in a lot of different areas. And it doesn't stop with someone maybe hearing a message from their spiritual guide, or a loved one may have spoken to them. I mean, we have a variety of different people on this show. And I'm so glad that you guys, decided to come on. And I know that you've co-authored this wonderful book. What was the writing process like for the both of you?
Well, I'll jump in and give my take, and then let Marcey kind of give her side of it. We wrote this in a really unique way. I'm not the best writer when I got a blank screen in front of me, and so I knew I needed someone to dialogue with, someone to help me capture the content that was circling around in my brain. And I meditated for a long time on who that person was. And Marcey kept coming up in my consciousness. She was a client I had worked with. And I was a little hesitant at first, but 3 times she came up in my meditation. And I'm like, okay, I hear it. And I reached out to her, and it was a huge yes. And the collaboration has been amazing. I couldn't have picked a better person, and it's just been a fabulous partnership, really productive, really fun. We've really enjoyed it. And I feel blessed and grateful every day that I get to work with Marcey. So that's kind of was my experience And I'll let her kind of.
Well, so I'm gonna let you off the hook. We're gonna get to. I'm not gonna let you off the hook that easy, because you mentioned a few things that I love to talk about on this show, and it's just a testament of a professional like you. And you mentioned meditation. I meditated, and so we're not gonna let you sneak out of here without giving us. You meditated, and what happened next? What did that set up in order for you to be your best?
Well, I think, sometimes if we get really quiet, we can hear the intuition.
Yes.
And that's really the key. Is we got so much noise running around all the time in our everyday mind. And if we can just quiet down, calm down, get to a moment of clarity and stillness, a lot of times we can hear the subtleties. And so I was just blank. I just sat with my mind blank, and Marcey kept coming in to my consciousness. And so once that happened 3 times, to me, it was a very clear indication that this is the right relationship. And there's a Buddhist concept of right relationship. And so it's really trusting that Spirit is guiding us all the time. The question is, are we going to listen? Are we going to make us receptive enough to hear the messages that are there every moment of our life? And that's a lot of what the Inside Guide, the book, is about, is beginning to realize that guidance is always inside of us. And it's just a question of making ourselves receptive and making ourselves open to the guidance and the wisdom that comes through when we calm down and listen.
I love it. And I know Marcey, I was just waiting, trying to, get you ready to go, because you're a Reiki master, and your feel and intuition is much different from Michael's. So where are we? How do you integrate this writing process? I mean, how was it like for you, going through this book?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. This has just been an amazing experience. And I kind of felt through, most of my adult life, like, gosh, there's something I want to do with all of this material, all the tools I've learned, whether it be Reiki or through courses or classes or workshops or podcasts. It's, even though I have a professional life, which I love, and it allows me the option to do a lot of cool things in my day-to-day life, it affords me that. I always felt like my true purpose was helping others and being a support for others. And so I kept learning all these tools. You keep seeing advertisements for, a workshop, a book, like, this is the key, this is this and that. And so it wasn't until I worked with Michael that I really realized that the answer was inside of me. And so the answer is different. The answer is not necessarily Reiki for everyone, or particular type of meditation for everyone. The answer is to take time and go inside of yourself and figure out what's true for you. And that's where a practice of quiet and sitting still. And it's funny, Michael and I purposely, when we were writing about meditation, he pointed out we should also call it sitting still, because sometimes even terms like meditation, affirmations, etc., those could be a turnoff to people and could be intimidating. But it gives you the space to look inside to really figure out. And for me, that's where my work started with Michael, is like, what's missing? Like, I have everything. I have the car, the house, the family, the health, the support, the money, this. I just felt lucky and so grateful, and would do gratitude journals. But I still felt like there was something else out there that it's like I still didn't feel full of joy and inspiration in my life. And that's when I started working with Michael, and it just completely transformed, having these tools transformed how I saw myself and how I showed up in the world. And so when I got that call 2.5 years ago of, do you want to write this book? I literally was running out saying, yes, yes, yes. I'm not an author. I don't know how to do this. But that's the other piece, is like, we do it our way. And that's the the insight of being connected with who you are and the way you make your way in this world, is when we feel the pressure of we have to do XYZ to find success, we sometimes get a little caught up, but then we step back to say, let's take a moment in quietness and stillness and figure out, is this right for me? And that's really the foundation of what I've discovered with this work, and why it was such a beautiful match between like figuring out like I wanted something else, and then getting that amazing phone call that, because this is what I've been waiting for.
So when I think about your background, senior VP, finance, project management, communications, facilitation, left brainer. So I say to myself, now you're writing you're involved in a thought-driven book, and you guys are speaking my language, because I have a similar book that's about the infinite abilities we possess from within. So this is I love what you're doing. But Marcey, tell me, from that background, you would think you would be a left brainer, but the right brain has to be exercised to get to the Reiki master level. So we know that too. How do you balance both of those? Being able to be in a result driven industry, but at the same time, you are in a thoughtful place while writing this kind of material.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. I've had to think about that and struggle because, back in my early career, when you're in a bank or finance industry that sometimes doesn't seem like it's serving people, I had to really kind of reframe what my job was. So first I realized that my tools and talents of being left brain, Excel spreadsheet, process oriented serve a place, and what we offer in this big financial institution actually serves small businesses and serves individuals. And so from a spiritual perspective, I have to rest in the fact that we are serving a purpose in someone's life, even though money and sometimes credit and loans could kind of seem like a little bit dirty, like, gosh, how can you charge people this? I work for a company that I'm super proud of. They are aligned with my social and cultural beliefs, and so that makes it easy. And even during COVID, they started a daily meditation practice. So I think there is space in our corporate world, and that's why I love the work that you do for mindfulness now. And so I almost think it's our responsibility to show up as our full self in these corporations, because we are serving a purpose and there is space for it. And I think it's changing from how we used to see big corporations and banking big institutions.
So, Michael, when we all do this and we reach a level to where, okay, we're writing a book, but then we know that we have results. Either we're already working with clients or we're beginning to work with clients, and we're speaking, or we've come off the speaking trail. And now we're going to focus on clients. So tell me about the results you're getting with clients, the ones that you are working with.
Yeah, well, I've been working with clients for about 20, 25 years now.
Yes.
So it's been a vast array. When I was in my early 30s and 40s, I was doing a lot of corporate work and team building, working with a lot of small business owners. But mostly what the results are, it's client driven. So a lot of times it's yeah, there you go. Thanks. I need that picture.
Yeah.
I can't talk to myself.
Give you the floor.
I actually can't talk to myself when I see myself.
Yeah. You know what I try to do is give you that clip you may need for another piece. But you were talking about like some of the results or some of the processes that you. Yeah.
So
with the clients.
the clients really define the outcome. And a lot of what I've worked on with people has to do with their identity and how people view themselves. So everyone's bringing all their history to every interaction. So even if it's a business interaction, if it's a personal interaction, if it's a relationship issue, if it's a financial issue, we're all bringing our history to the interaction. And what we find is that a lot of people are internalizing false beliefs about themselves, things that get in the way of living a life of ease and joy and success. Everyone is destined for that. So the outcomes and the results tend to be people feeling more free, a sense of lightness, a sense of ease and flow, we like to tap more into the synchronicity and the coincidences of life. I like the concept of co-creation. So it's really getting people beyond this false notion of self so they can live authentically. And once someone is in their authentic self, things begin to unfold quite naturally and easily for them.
Isn't that amazing though, Mike?
Yeah. And so the results is, I get to witness clients breaking through, and oh my God, I've been struggling with this thing for 20 years, this repeating pattern. And then when we unpack it, we find it's coming from childhood. It's something that was there all along, resting under the surface. And we're able to unpack that, revise that, and revise how we view ourselves. It's incredibly freeing for someone. They're freed up. They're able to take that and just go out into the world as their authentic self, the person they were born to be, rather than who they had to learn to be to adapt to their upbringing.
Marcey, before we go and start talking about the book and where people can buy it at, let's get your response on the results you're getting with clients.
Yeah, it's just working with Michael, I've been able to witness transformation in not only my life, but the people who I've known have done one-on-one work with him. And even on our YouTube channel, there's when we talk about the book, there's a short kind of process that Michael does with one of his clients who is a small business owner that's struggling with marketing, and come to find out it's the risk of putting herself out there. So he's able to go in and kind of touch on that memory, on that behavior, that identity, and just quickly shift it in a way that actually feels like she can work from a place of inspiration. I think we all get caught up in the stories of why is this happening, or why am I struggling with this? And what we talk about in the book is that just kind of continues to kind of perpetuate the story in your mind. And what would it be like if you could reconnect to a place where things like that no longer cease to be a problem? And that's the experience with Michael and his clients and in workshops. Is it's not just that you're kind of suppressing how you feel or what those beliefs are, you actually transform them. Like, I can't even remember how I felt 5 or 6 years ago of being somebody who was micromanager, always in control, stressed out, waking up in the middle of the night, not taking care of myself. I can't even relate to that, because it's not that I've just affirmed that I was different. It's that actually those beliefs shifted on an unconscious level, which is the part that we typically don't deal with. We deal with what's conscious, and it really is kind of the unconscious mind that's the big drivers.
Reminds me of the same type of thing, being a small business owner, having, a number of contracts, but so much is going on. And then you find that level of peace and you're like, wow, why didn't I know this when I was developed high blood pressure, or, when I started getting health problems? When you find that quiet spot and you're taught how to use breath work and how to use those tools along with meditation to quieten things down, you can move in a lot of areas. And I know we're not even talking about, we lost Marcy, she'll be back, but we're not even talking about manifesting while you are in these deep meditations. We'll say that for another time. So we'll kick it around until she comes back on, Mike, you and I. So
her response, I think it's so important that the outcome is everyone's unique. So what's going to speak to one person might be very different than what speaks to another person. And so I'm pretty empathic. When I sit with someone, I can really sense who this person is at a deep level and what they're here to do, and begin to feel their orientation. I can feel the energy in their body, where things are flowing, where things are not. Hey, Marcy, you're back.
Oh, hey, Marcy, she's back.
Mercury is in retrograde. Sorry, Jason. Sorry, Michael.
I just, like, meditation may not be the tool for everyone. Someone may not resonate with that. So then we say, okay, what's going to work for a particular individual and their personality and their orientation? And for some people, they're more mystically inclined. For some people, they're more practically inclined. And we're just tailoring what we do to every individual so that they're getting what they need out of it.
The Inside Guide. Let's go ahead and talk about that. I've been waiting. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Inside Guide, and it is by these two beautiful people. Here's the website at the bottom. Talk about now specifically what this book offers to anyone who's watching right now, and what can it do for you?
Do you want me to jump in on that?
Go for it.
Okay, so the book is structured into 3 parts. The first part is finding answers, and it's really about delving into the structures of the mind. The whole book is designed to take people on an inner journey so they can begin to navigate the inner landscape. We're very externalized as a society, and so a lot of times we've been taught to look outside ourselves for the answers, and this book takes you on a roadmap so that you can find those answers within yourself. In the second part of the book, it's called Overcoming Obstacles, and it's got a body orientation, and it's where we look at the unconscious aspects and how to unravel the programming at a physiological level that is operating under the surface of our everyday mind. And when you can undo these programs and reprogram, that's the essence of neuro-linguistic programming, then it shifts a lot of the repeating problems that are getting in the way. And in the third section, it's living purpose. And what we've done here is tied spirit and purpose together and really guide people in the final section to a mystical orientation, to that place of stillness. We call it the mountaintop. So this is a theme we've worked in throughout the book, is going to the mountaintop to find your inner peace. And then a lot of people can do that, or they go on a retreat. But where a lot of people get caught is in the return to the village. How do I take this spiritual awareness and live it in my everyday life? So in the third section, what we do is not only bring people to this mystical awareness, but also bring people to how to integrate that and how to bring it back into the village. So we really have these 3 parts of finding answers, overcoming obstacles, living your purpose. And it's a journey, and it really can speak to a lot of people, because the whole essence of it is everything you're looking for is within you. And we're just giving people a roadmap through inquiry, through practicing with acceptance, through a lot of the tools we give in the book that really gives people everything they need to become their own inner guide. And that's what we're trying to do here, is empower people that you have the answer in you. And teachers and guides outside of yourself are important, and we need feedback and reflection. But at the end of the day, you are the guide. You are the guide.
I love it. And the first thing that comes to my mind is when you read this type of material, not super text, but really high-end material that you have to sit down and read it, okay, in order to absorb it. So how do you recommend readers apply, the advice or the strategies in your book to their own lives?
Why don't you take that one, Marce?
Yeah, I was just going to mention the feedback we've received from the early readers of the book is that it's really easy to get through. And
Right.
The reason is because we purposely, and this is, coming from somebody who's gone to a lot of conferences and read a lot of, like, quote unquote self-help books. We have text, but we also included exercises. We have key concept call-out boxes. And then Michael and I wrote the book in a way where we actually recorded our conversations, and then translated those into text, and then did editing after that. But some of the conversations were so powerful that we actually include those in the book. So you can actually see myself or his other clients be processed, quote unquote, processed to apply some of the lessons that are talked about in the narrative. And then there's exercises on top of it. So people can read through the whole book and then go back, or you could read it slowly and digest it and do exercises and sit with the material. And just with the theme of the book is it's all paced on what works for you. And there's also a disclaimer: if certain things don't hit, then just put them aside and keep reading. We don't prescribe that you have to follow every bit of instruction in the book and just sign up to this path. No, that's the opposite. This is really a working journal almost for every reader. And that's our intention, is that anyone who picks this up will find inspiration and be able to take that inspiration into the practicality of their daily lives.
I love it. And, you know, I love books that have those follow along a workbook type, journal type. Those are the kind of books you tend to hold on for a long time because you're working in them and you're always referring back to a certain section. So that is awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, the inside guide by these two beautiful people, Michael DiPietro and Marcey Donnelly. Go to the website, loveguides.us, and pick the book up. And if you want to work with Michael, tell them how they can work with you. I know you have a system where you'll schedule maybe a person for a few moments to speak to them. Tell the audience how they can contact you.
Yeah, on the website, if you can see on that link there, there's schedule a free session. And I do that because it's very important that we feel a connection in working together. And I want to give people a sense of what the work is like before they would commit to anything. And so really in this free session, I try to give people an experience, not just a theoretical understanding, but a direct experience of what the work is going to do for them. And again, that's going to be unique for each person. So we start by asking, what is it you really want? What's the edge for you? What's the next leap in your consciousness? Where, if this work unfolded in a brilliant way for you, what would be happening? And so that's the starting point of getting that question answered. And then that sets the context for going in and doing the deeper transformative work.
So let's hear.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this free session allows people to get a taste of that so they can really understand it, because sometimes when we're talking about it, it's staying theoretical, it's staying in the mind. And that's very different from when we actually feel something in the body.
All right. So let's go ahead and we'll hear from you yourself.
Share with somebody who was interested in doing work with you, interested in uncovering more about themselves and leading and living a more fulfilled and wholesome, harmonious type of life.
There's a context of where we enter in to the relationship to create positive change for the person. And it varies for everyone. Again, people are so unique. So it's really beginning to say to each person, what are your challenges? And are you willing to begin to take a look inside and to find out, who are you really born to be and what are you really here to do? The greater journey comes with time, and it comes as a choice. It's not required that people do that.
Outstanding. I mean, just a very subtle message, but has a lot of truth to it. And I'm sure in your practice and working with people for a number of years, you've had many success stories. Tell us about one of them.
Okay. So I had a client who came to me. She was an artist, and she was in her small little studio and kind of doing her thing. She was very into her process, but she wasn't making very much money. And she was kind of caught in the typical artist thing, which is, I love my craft, but how do I make money at it, right? And so we worked on not only getting her in her marketing approach and activating a lot of her left brain, where she was a right brain person, and so she needed more strategy. But we revised a lot of her past that allowed her to gain income and remade the inner blueprint on her money. And so she subsequently went out. She's now a very well-known artist. She's done international shows. She's invited all to galleries all across the world. And her jewelry, she's a jewelry artist, and she's been very, very successful. She ended up meeting her life partner. She was single when we started working. So a lot of things just unfolded for her by and the key to a lot of what shifts things is we have to go back to the family of origin. And so a lot of times it's the family system. While it can be supportive, sometimes it's inhibiting our real purpose in the world and our real success in the world. So that's just one instance. I'm working with another client now who's actually he's a fighter, and but he's sometimes caught in some destructive patterns that are getting in the way of his success. And so we went back, and a lot of that again is coming from childhood. And so as we revise that, a lot of that destructive behavior is just dropping off the map. He's not going down that road anymore. And so it's allowing him to move forward with his goals and his vision and be more successful with what he's undertaking. So in conjunction with those tangible goals, it's also about feeling better and feeling more vibrant and how we show up in the world, right? Because that's a big key to our success is how are we showing up? Are we allowing ourselves to be in our full aliveness? So there's the tangible goals. Yeah, I want to make more money. I want to be more successful. I want to, increase my social media following. And in parallel with that, we're also getting people to feel more alive, feel more vibrant. How do I feel more inspired when I take on these goals? How do I love the concept where we don't even need motivation anymore because it's just something I want to jump into every day, right? I don't have to motivate myself. I'm naturally inspired to take on the tasks that are in line with what I want and with the vision, right? So that's some of the success that we've seen. And just like across the board, I've had so many people say, I don't know how you did it, but I'm just off and running and I feel great and I'm feeling happier and more alive and more vibrant in my everyday life, and my life is unfolding. So that's some of it.
Well, for one thing, you're doing is showing them how to get rid of the imposter syndrome. I hear that all through what you're saying. Yeah. Michael, Marcey, obviously, the joy I hear in your voice when you speak about these stories of past clients is overwhelming, and that gives you inspiration in itself. But what inspired you guys to actually write the book, and how's it different from other books? So how's it unique in its own fashion?
I had a vision to write this. I've wanted to write a book for 20 years. And this 2 years ago, it was just the pandemic was winding down. I guess we were still in the throes of it. It was in 2021. And I had a moment of inspiration. I've been working on trying to kind of understand better what I do for my clients, finding answers, overcoming obstacles, living purpose, those outcomes that I bring clients into. And I had a moment of inspiration where I'm like, oh my God, I got the outline for the book. And I went through and penned out on big sheets the entire outline for the book in about an hour. It just came through like that. And once I did that, then I knew I needed someone to dialogue with. And that's where I kind of reached out to Marcey and we started the conversations.
I like to call that downloads.
It was a total download. It was, yeah. I think one of the things that's very unique about the book is our relationship. And that comes through in a lot of the writing is a friend of ours called us the dynamic duo, because there's a dynamic inspiration in our relationship and what we've been able to do. So I have a lot of this information swirling around in my head, but Marcey was able to pull it out of me at a deeper level. And also sometimes I'm very abstract and right brain. Marcey was able to, through some of the questions she would ask me back, ground a lot of the information and bring it to a very practical and digestible level for people. So that's kind of my take on.
With that left brain background that Marcey has.
I had multiple spreadsheets, Jason, and I had to introduce them gently.
Right. So what would you guys say is the main message or takeaway from this book?
Why don't you jump in on this one, Marcy? I've been talking a lot.
The main message is the answers inside of you. So as I did for many years, looking outside at the latest trend, suggestion, something to purchase, somewhere to go. I mean, there is this fear of missing out now that we have social media. And so we're externalized, I think, even more. And it's multiple ages. I mean, from in your early 20s to, we have people in their 70s reading the book and being inspired. And so the message is this is your own path, and the answer is within. Whatever you've been searching for, whatever seems missing, whatever is kind of sometimes sucking the joy out of your life, it's not something that you could purchase, or it's not something that you can, that's somebody that you have to meet or a job you have to have. The answer is going inside and really listening to yourself for those answers. And it's just been transformative for myself, people I know, and the people that we've met through this work.
Oh, awesome. So Michael, you have any upcoming projects or events, and what's going on with you? I mean, tell the audience what to expect new from you, or give us some insight on what you're doing.
Okay, well, I'm focusing a lot on private sessions, and I am taking on a few new private clients right now. But our most exciting upcoming event is a one-day workshop, and we haven't fully firmed it up yet, but we're looking at probably July 22nd, and it's going to be at an offsite location, and we're kind of excited to get back into the live events. So we've all gotten used to the virtual events, and they've been a godsend through the pandemic, but oh boy, to get into presence again, to be connected with people face to face again. We're so excited about that. So we got an event coming up in April, and we're probably going to be also bringing another facilitator in, a good friend of mine who has some great pieces to add. So we'll have myself and two wonderful dynamic women facilitating this event. And again, it's going to be an offsite. We'll probably be, we already have a few people signed up, but it's probably going to be limited to about 20, 30 people max. We don't want to get the size too big because we feel like we want to keep the personal connection and be able to make sure everyone gets a takeaway out of the event. Beyond that, we're going to continue. We're just kind of launching. So much of our energy has gone into getting the book published. And so we just recently launched in April. And so now we're pivoting to like, okay, we're really building the ecosphere and the community around the book. We with our readers, we're asking, please start a dialogue. We want to hear how it's landing for you. We want to really build this community of support so that people can begin to not only go through the process of change.
Well, when you speak of support, how do you support your readers to go further with the content?
Hold on one sec here.
Yeah, we have online workshops and study groups that are launched, and we have those scheduled. So on the website, if you go to workshops and retreats, you can sign up for those workshops, and they really are discussion groups because sometimes one has to, kind of be part of a dialogue to get to really kind of digest the material. And so there's so much that you could do on your own, but we really found being in a community, being able to kind of process together, share together, learn from each other is really powerful. So definitely if you go to workshops and retreats and then go to the calendar, Jason, there's a calendar of events coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, so workshops and events calendar. There you go. Thank you.
And we haven't filled it out. We're a little behind because so much energy was going into getting the book out. But we're building this out, and we'll be adding more events. We'll be adding your podcast on there. Every event we do, speaking events, book signings. It'll all be loaded onto our calendar here. So we got a lot more coming down the pipe. It's just a matter of bandwidth, and so we're getting there. We're just two folks right now, and but we're getting there, and we the eventual goal, and this is probably going to be probably sometime next year, is we're focusing on a destination week-long retreat. So we want to really work with people for an entire week where you can go deeply in the transformative process. I think there's a lot of people who are craving change right now, but are a little sometimes intimidated by the concept of change itself. And so yeah, go ahead.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm gonna move you to a solo screen. This is for you. Okay, this question is for you. You got to answer this question. Okay. So this will be a solo takeaway for you to take with you in your marketing efforts. But here's the question to you, and I joke around, Mike. But here's your question: why are you so passionate about what you do? Oh, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work. Tell me, why are you so passionate about this work?
Well, I had a spiritual awakening when I was 30. I'm 58 now. That really set me on a path, and I am born to do this work. So this is really my life purpose. And when I had that awakening, it really started me on a journey and a path of looking inward and beginning to deal with the unconscious content from my own childhood. So I had a lot of wounds from my childhood. I grew up in a large family. And when I was able to break through those myself and begin to feel my life purpose unfold and feel good about myself, and I began to see that my wounds were actually the doorway to my gifts. There was a lot of sensitivity I had that I wasn't able to express and live out in the world. And so my passion is not only my own journey, but I just love witnessing people getting the same experience for themselves. I get sheer joy when I see someone else break through too, because I know what that did for me. And so it's just my purpose. The business part of it is great, but it's about living our passion. And each person has some sort of passion, some sort of place where they're born to plug into the world in a very beautiful way. And this has been my passion. This is my journey. So I'll do it till the day I die. I don't see myself retiring, and I'm somewhat of a late bloomer to write a book at 58. But I really, it's a continual unfolding for me. And I just want to keep going. And I plan on working well into my 70s, 80s, maybe around my mid 80s, I'll wind down a little bit, but I'm going to keep going because this is what I'm born to do.
So we've hit the mark on the end of this beautiful conversation. Are there any parting words, Marcey, Michael, that you want to say to the audience?
I think it's just our intention is for anyone who picks up the book or runs across us in this work, as well as what you do, Jason, that people could just reconnect to joy, because life is the world could be an amazing place, and we're just filled with so much news and distraction, and it just there's so much more out there, and to be able to see and experience the mystical, magical, amazing synchronicities of life is just you can't put a number on that, and it's worth the time. And it could be scary at first to get started, but it's worth the investment to figure that out for oneself. So that's our intention with the book.
Okay.
Thanks. And I just want to say thank you to you, Jason, and the work you're doing, because you're also a peer here and you're really walking your own path, and you're changing a lot of people's lives by what you're doing. So I want to just finish up by saying thank you to you, and thank you to your audience, and to remember to stay in a state of gratitude for all that we have.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate it, Michael. I'm gonna move you guys to the back. Do not go anywhere. I'll just close this out, and I want to say a few more words to both of you. Okay, hold on one second. I told you that when we bring people on the show of this quality and all of the guests that come on are of high quality. But Michael and Marcey, these are two pros. These are the two people who have taken the time to study their craft, who have discovered things over the years that has been able to use with people's injected into people's lives, how to improve your mindset, understanding how to help you get clear on what it is that you want, and then building processes around you so that they can find the pain and the hurt so that we can bring that forth and heal. These are professional coaches, and I bring this type of content to you because everyone resonates with the person they're supposed to resonate with. I'm not the only person to work with. There are many beautiful coaches out there that work and do great work and have different ways that they approach. I'm Jason Medlock, and this has been a pleasure to bring you this type of material and these type of people that can help you change your life, transform your life from within, learn the hidden factors that keep you from succeeding, and also helping you use your inner guidance to clear obstacles and live inspired, just like Michael said. Again, thank you for joining the Expansion of Consciousness. You can check us out on YouTube at Expansion of Consciousness. We are excited that you stopped by. God bless. Good night.